Alright, it's about time we did this. CS2 knife tier list. There are currently 20 knives in CS2. Today we're going to be getting to the honest truth behind each and every single knife. As you guys all know, my opinion is the only correct opinion. So if you disagree, maybe it's time to grow up and pick a new game. I'm just kidding, skins are subjective. Mwah. Up first, we have the Ker Knife, the newest knife added into CS2. To be completely honest, haven't spent a ton of time with this thing in the hands, but I am a fan of the pull-out animation. The inspect animation isn't that bad at all, a little twirl around the index finger. I'm not a huge fan of the shape. I think it looks a little awkward. This is kind of like the awkward cousin. You guys ever had an awkward cousin when you're younger, you know, and he's just a little out of place, like he wants to fit in with the other big boy knives, the other big kids, but he's just not there, you know, he's just not there yet. He's just a little strange, that's all. Honestly, Ker Knife, I think I'm going to put it into C tier. I'm really not a huge fan. It's definitely not the worst knife I've ever seen, but I'm not a huge fan. Up next, we have the classic Bayonet. Just the standard Bayonet, not the M9. Again, this knife kind of has a little case of little brother syndrome, in my opinion. You know, the big brother, the M9 Bayonet, the little brother looks up to the big brother. He wants to be just like him, but his potential really wasn't there. You know, maybe the older brother was blessed a little bit more genetically, maybe a little bit more athletic, you know, maybe a little bit more handsome, you know, maybe a little smarter, a little taller. Still, don't get me wrong, beautiful knife. And in recent years, it's definitely become a lot more affordable. I remember back in the day, the Bayonet was still kind of expensive. Compared to other knives, this thing is actually relatively cheap. I honestly think the Bayonet deserves B tier. I might have to revisit this one. We will do some editing as we go through the list. But for now, I think B tier is a good spot. Up next, the best knife in the game, without a doubt in my mind, the butterfly knife. Best finishes, best animations. You can play with it, you can flick it around. You know, you're going to spend a lot of money on a knife, right? You're going to spend a significant amount of your income. You're going to want to be able to use it. You're going to be able to, you know, play with it in game. Some of the other knives, you just hold them. You know, maybe you do a little inspect like this, right? But the butterfly knife, no. Different animations, little spin, different pullouts. Like, oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. It really speaks for itself. The butterfly knife is 100% the best knife in the entire game. No other knife is going to go in best tier. The butterfly knife is in a tier of its own. Now, before we move on, a quick word from this video's sponsor. SkinsMonkey is an instant way to get new CS2 skins and make your perfect inventory. First, deposit the skins you want to trade, then filter for the skins you want. Last, hit trade, and the new skins will instantly be yours. SkinsMonkey is offering up to $5 free on your first trade. The more you trade, the more you earn. If you're looking to buy skins for cheap, SkinsMonkey offers a 35% top-up bonus if you use code Savimi at checkout. Check out SkinsMonkey and build your perfect inventory. Now, next up, we have the survival knife. This knife gets so much hate. I understand it's a little bit goofy looking, but like I said in my prior video, if you guys check that out, this knife, you're a unique person. This knife only works if you have a very unique personality, right? I'm not saying you're a loser. I'm not saying you're weird. I'm just saying no one else is like you. Some of the animations on this thing, like, did you see that? Did you see that little pull out and catch? That thing, that is so cool. When I saw that for the first time, my opinions about this knife really changed. It has a couple different inspects, a little rub right there, a little flick of the bean a little bit, you know what I mean? It's a very unique knife, really. It gives me a very unique feeling, right? I don't get this type of feeling from any other knife in the game. And no, the gut knife is not comparable to this thing. Do not even think about saying that. I think the survival knife honestly deserves B tier. It's going to be definitely behind the Bayonet, and it might move further down into B tier, but I think B tier is where it deserves to be. Up next, the Paracord Knife. The worst survival knife, honestly. It wanted to be really unique. I'm not a huge fan of the strings on the handle. By all means, they don't look bad. I just don't think it looks professional, right? Like, I'm going to war in this game. I'm defending against terrorists at national monuments. All right, this seems like a big deal. And you're gonna tell me you came to this war with a knife with string for a handle? But if I was in an actual combat scenario and I saw you pull this out, I think I would laugh. Paracord Knife, D tier. Before we move on, guys, quick little announcement. I am going to be giving away these Shadow Daggers Damascus Steel once we hit 1,500 subscribers here on my YouTube channel. All you have to do to enter is subscribe, leave a comment on this video letting me know what your favorite knife is, and join my Discord server that'll be linked down in the description. Up next, we have the classic knife. Now, I didn't play, 1.6 or whatever version of CS that this knife came from, but two things, very cool toss animation right there, and you do get the idle animation. If you don't move, your in-game character is just going to gently caress it right here. Give it a little polish, a little shine, maybe you got a little smudge, right? I don't think the finishes are good. I don't like the kind of like stain on the front of the knife, except with two patterns. If you get a well-worn night stripe or a well-worn crimson web. You get those kind of cream colored stains to come through the knife, and it actually looks really good. The night stripe pairs really well with the lieutenant commander gloves, and the crimson web just looks really cool with the stains coming through. So for that, I think I'm going to put the classic knife in B tier. Next up, the falchion knife. Honestly, not a huge fan. Looks weird. Pull animations this is the worst pull out animation in the game. I prefer the Navajo knife pull out animation to the falchion knife. Look at this. It's terrible. Only cool thing, this right here. This is the only cool thing about the falchion knife, and you're not affected by gravity. Look at this, looking straight down. Knife is horizontal to the ground right now. Very cool. OG rare inspect animation. That's the only thing saving this knife. I'm being a little bit harsh right now, honestly. It is a budget knife. You can get some nice finishes on this thing for super cheap, which is really cool. The fact that this knife is budget and you can get nice looking things on it. Based on all that information, I think that the falchion knife deserves C tier, but it is better than the kukri knife. Up next, the flip knife, the Opper's knife. This is an OG knife, right? This is a classic knife. I actually never really realized how cool the vanilla knife is for the flip knife. It's kind of like a black Autotronic. That's really cool. Never actually looked at one in game. Gonna be completely honest with you. Little thing. You learn new things every day about skins. That's what I love about this game. God bless. But back to the flip knife. It's the Opper's knife, right? It's an OG knife. Everybody remembers Kenny S clips, flicking this out on the flick away. Very beautiful, very sleek. I am letting nostalgia influence me a little tiny bit, but here's the thing. It's also kind of budget. I'm not going to say it's as budget as maybe the falchion knife is, but it's definitely cheaper than any bayonet or anything like that. All those factors combined, it's going to be our first A tier knife. Next up, the gut knife. Before we start yapping, look at this combo. It's actually pretty sleek. The gut knife gets so much hate. It's the hated child. It's the black swan. It's the orphan. It's the Cinderella before she got her glass slipper. Whatever you want to call it. I think it's so underappreciated. But very unique shape. It's an OG knife. Ultra budget knife. The gut knife pullout is like a ballerina. It's like a Russian ballerina. Just effortlessly, elegantly twisting in the wind. It's beautiful. Super budget, very unique shape. It's a based knife. It's a based knife. You are extremely based if you use the gut knife. Gut knife, also going in A tier. I'm so ready for your hate comments. Please bring them. Up next, the Navajo knife. Up next, the beautiful Karambit. First of all, the Karambit has the best view model in the entire game. If you're rocking an agent that happens to have bracelets or a watch, you get to see both of them compared to other knives view models. Your hands are out in front of you. You're in an athletic position. You're ready to clinch the round. You're ready to win the game. You're like a linebacker. You're on the prowl. You're waiting for the kill. The Karambit's an OG knife. It has, honestly, you feel so sick pulling this out. Dude, like, if you guys have ever watched Rops play, every time he, like, moves around a corner, he'll do kind of like a move with his mouth like that and pull out his Karambit. It looks so clean. It's so much steez. The Karambit is beautiful. Little bit of idle animations. If you guys can see the thumb getting loose, right? You're staying ready. You're staying in the game. Karambit, first S tier knife of the list. Up next, the M9 bayonet. This thing gives you power. This is like Mjolnir. This is like Thor's hammer. I swear on my life, when you get your first M9 bayonet, you're just gonna be a better player. You feel better. You feel more confident. You're ready to swing. You're ready to peek around corners. You're ready to move. Look at that pull out. It's so clean. I don't even know what to call that, but it looks phenomenal. I love the M9. I unfortunately don't have one right now. I'm currently rocking a Karambit and a butterfly knife, but if there was a third mysterious side added to Counter-Strike, I swear on my mom's life, the M9 would be purchased within 15 milliseconds of that update. M9 bayonet, second S tier knife. Up next, the Nomad knife. Look at that rare and pull out. Ooh, I love that. A little handshake. Ooh, I got hurt. You know, walk it off, play it off. We're in combat right now. Focus up, dial in, right? Lock in. Monacy and Simple popularized this knife at the major. Both of them bringing out #1 pattern Nomad knife blue gems. Very based opinion of them. This is our second based knife of the list. So I genuinely like it though. I love the pull out. There's not another knife in the game that has a similar pull out. Flick it to your other hand and then pass it back over. Look at this. Boom. Boom. Team play. Team player. If you rock the Nomad knife, you're a team player. Maybe you're an IGL. You know util, right? You're team orientated. You're ready to make hard decisions to win the game. You're not a selfish player. You don't want to just frag out. You're ready to do what's right for the team to win the game, and you want to look stylish doing it. You're classy. Nomad knife, A tier. Up next, Shadow Daggers. They fixed the animation, by the way. Look at this. No more crosshair move. No more crosshair move. 2 knives. Only knife in the game where you get 2. Bang for your buck. 50% off if you want to think of it that way. I think these are incredibly overhated. I think the people that appreciate them exist, and they exist in a good number. I just think that people hate them just because it's popular to hate them. The only other knife in the game where you can play with it and repeat the animation, which I do appreciate, like I talked about, if you're going to be spending money on a knife, you're going to want to use it. Super budget friendly, super affordable, a lot of cool finishes on this knife. You can get Shadow Daggers field tested lore for under $100. You can get a lore knife for under $100. That's very cool in my opinion. I think the Shadow Daggers deserve right behind the Bayonet in B tier. Right behind. Up next, we have the Skeleton Knife. I want to start by saying that the Skeleton Knife is phenomenal, okay? It's one of the best knives in the game by far, in my opinion. How clean it is. So, there it is. Look at that thing. Wow. I love it. There's one crucial factor that's holding back the Skeleton Knife compared to the other knives. It doesn't have the chroma or the gamma finishes yet. Once this thing gets chroma and gamma finishes, it's gonna be it's gonna be on the same tier as the Karambit and the M9. I'm telling you, the price is gonna skyrocket. Because really, we only have Slaughter, Case Hardened, Fade, and Crimson Web as like the only good finishes on the Skeleton Knife. So I think that definitely holds it back a little bit. But for right now, I think it belongs in A tier. Up next, Stiletto Knife. This might be the hottest take in the game, but I think this is an S tier knife. I'm just going to come out and say it. It's so sleek. It's so classy. Like, I just feel professional. Like, I feel like I'm a businessman that's a part-time assassin, right? Like, I don't want to be known for being a killer, but if I need to, boom. This is in my pocket, in the briefcase. No one knows it's there, right? Such a sleek knife. And we do get the chroma finishes on this thing. Not the gamma finishes yet, but we do get this, you know, the ruby and sapphire. Everybody loves the ruby. Everybody loves the sapphire. They're on this knife. You can get the pink phase 2s if you're like that. You know, the most basic knife in the game. I'm calling you out. If you have a Doppler phase 2, you're basic. I'm calling you out. Anyways, one of the best knives in the game. I am going to put it in S tier. I wasn't lying earlier. It belongs in S tier. Up next, the Bowie Knife. Obviously, adding the left hand is a huge win for the Bowie Knife. It's still super budget, which is a good thing in my opinion. We need budget knives. Not everybody is prepared to drop, you know, thousands of dollars on a good looking knife. Budget knives are good. It's still budget. I'm super happy about that. The left hand edition is a great add. The left hand was really holding the Bowie Knife back. But it's a great knife, honestly. It's a great knife. I think it definitely deserves upper echelon of B tier. I'm going to put it right above the Shadow Daggers. Not as good as the Bayonet, but definitely, like, it's a solid knife, especially for how cheap it is. Up next, the Huntsman Knife. I get hate every time I express this opinion, but I don't like the Huntsman Knife at all. I think it looks clunky. I think the animations are clunky. It's like the same pullout as the gut knife. It just doesn't fit as well. Like, instead of being a ballerina, this is like Andre the Giant trying to do ballet. I don't like it at all. I don't want to dwell on it too much, but D tier. Up next, the Ursus Knife. I think this is one of the most underrated knives in the entire game. Has one of the coolest rare inspects. Here it is. Boom, 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 boom. So sick. Really cool pullouts. Very cool pullouts. Very unique, too. This inspect is super basic, right? You get the default inspect, but it's a sleek blade. It's just a solid slab, right? Any finish you want, except for the gamma finishes, not yet. You get on this knife, you get a full play's worth. You get a full slab of it. It looks amazing. It's very cool. Relatively budget around the Bayonet. I want to say it's a little bit cheaper than the Bayonet. I think it does deserve B tier, and while we're at it, I'm going to move the survival knife to the bottom of C tier. I was coping a little bit earlier. Up next, we have the Talon Knife. I am so tired of people calling this thing the knockoff Karambit. Okay, first of all, ivory handle, so cool. Compare it with white gloves, white sleeves, it looks amazing. Every single knife in the game has some sort of dark colored handle, except for like the gut knife in this. And I'm tired of it, okay? Give the handle some flavor. Give the handle some life. Ivory handle, it's beautiful. Come on now. You do get this rare inspect animation, which is nice. It is a plus. It has the same stab animations that the Karambit does, which is really cool. I recently noticed in a knife glove competition that I hosted that these gold buttons on the handle can pair really well with certain agents and certain gold aspects on different parts of gloves and knives. Very cool. Somebody submitted the Talon Knife, like phase 2. I know I'm a hater, but with Imperial Plaid gloves, the Imperial Plaid gloves have a little golden button. They match really cool. Very cool little hidden detail. Final knife of the list. I genuinely think the Talon Knife is at top of A tier. Well, there we go, guys. There's the tier list video. As I said at the very beginning, if you disagree with any of these opinions, you're wrong. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far into the video, like I said earlier, I am going to be giving away the Shadow Daggers Damascus Steel once we hit 1,500 subscribers here on YouTube. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to my channel, leave a comment on this video letting me know which knife is your favorite, and join my Discord server, which will be linked down in the description. Thank you guys. I'll see you next time.